Good day. I'm here again at my scorpion lab where I've had a lot of time to think and consider a lot of subjects. One of them, particularly, that's come to mind as of late, it's been up most of my mind, is the idea of faith as a good thing. It's in a lot of our literature and a lot of our movies and television shows as if it's a positive, and I've never quite got a handle on it. Why I didn't particularly like it. I think in the attitude of the colloquial sense, like you have assigned levels of confidence when you talk about faith. Sometimes that's what you mean by it. So I don't have a problem with that particular interpretation, but I do take issue with the religious ideologies of, let's say, the Christian faith. And faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen, out of Hebrews 11:1. The biblical idea is that it's belief without evidence at all. And, well, you gotta have faith. You hear a lot, and I said, do you got to have faith? Why is that? Why is that a good thing? It's always trumped up like it's a positive when I hear about it. And not only am I not convinced that's true, I'm convinced it's absolutely not true. And I came up with a way to kind of describe why I would consider it bad rationale. So I've come up with kind of an example, and I try to stray from making an analogy out of it. Because while analogies are tools, and I don't stray from using them, and I don't see a problem with using them in terms of they're as effective as they can be for what they are, I think it would be better if I went with the direct example, and that's when I've come with the 3-dog example of what I think could, I guess, help describe faith in terms of why I have an issue with the religious sense of the word. So we'll begin. There are 3 dogs. Someone says they have a dog. Well, that makes sense. People have dogs. It's what they do. So if somebody says to me, hey, Adam, I got a dog. Oh, cool, man. And I could probably take you on your word within reason. And it's not meritless. It's because there's a high probability of dogs being in a household in America. If you tell me you have a dog, and I don't have evidence that what you just told me was true unless you provided it. And so I do take a leap of confidence based on, 1, what I know about people having dogs, and 2, how well I may or may not know you and your relation to me and what you're willing to tell me in terms of truth. If you're consistently or habitually lying, I might take that into effect. And if I do find out you don't have a dog after all, you never did get one, and you'd lied about it, then I learned something new about you. But, there's no harm, no foul there, and in the end, it's not meritless. But that's a degree of confidence, and it makes sense. But number 2, dog number 2. Someone says they have a dog, and it speaks. What do you mean it speaks? Like, well, it speaks words, like English. Okay, what do you mean it speaks words? And there's a strange precedence for this. There's a study on animal language and can they communicate with a human. Birds have the highest acumen, it seems. Some parrots have learned pretty extensive vocabularies, but not to the point where they're convinced quite that they are able to understand syntax and recursion. And there's a few things that are stated to be left out, and it's still open for debate. And it's kind of a cool insight. Could you eat something, for example, that you knew could speak it directly to you? I think we might take a step back if the animals would actually say, no, please don't kill me, and that sort of thing. Dogs even have a certain amount of this is weird. They have like one word or two word or a phrase that gets kind of jumbled together. It's usually a reward basis that kind of reinforces this sort of thing, but not all the time. Um, that's interesting. So some of them have been paraded around like, "Do you love your mama?" I love my mama. It's kind of cool, but do they understand what the words actually are? Not really. The word elicits a response, right? But if you say you have a talking dog, okay, and at least there's precedence for it, but I'm probably going to want some evidence for that. And I don't think it's a lot to ask for. That if I said, well, I've got to see this to believe it. Sure. So at least though, at least there's some proof that this has happened. That there's a couple of words that come out of dog that sound similar, or they're just that they are able to mimic. Now, do they understand it? That's its own study, but at least you've got something to go off of. And that's dog number 2. Here's the trick. Dog number 3. Someone says they have a dog, and it speaks 6 languages accurately. You're probably going to have some doubts. I mean, at least I hope you do, because that's one bold statement, and it's not as if the statements hadn't been made before. There's people that made some really wild claims that are unsubstantiated, that their dog actively spoke, and actively spoke more than one language. And if you can find a crackpot anywhere making any kind of claim, and so it's not out of the ordinary to have a crazy story, but man, when you say something like that, your level of confidence will probably die. And it is unlikely that anybody would be able to show you that that's true, because it is unlikely to be true. However, in all 3 instances, between the dog that speaks, and the dog that speaks 6 languages accurately, they have one thing in common. They are verifiable because they are falsifiable. Now, falsifiability means it's basically how you answer the question, how would you know if you're wrong? Because if you can't test against the claim, you can't then verify the claim. But I'll go into that at another time. The problem I have isn't with these 3, because in all 3 cases, you are able to verify the claim by falsifying the claim. Now let's take this to religion. You hear someone make a claim that there's a deity that runs around creating universes with its magical powers, and you have no way to falsify that. It seems to me that there's a certain degree of acceptability involving what falsifiability you will allow. Whether or not you'll throw falsifiability to the wind. You wouldn't accept a 3-language speaking dog, but suddenly this deity gets a pass. There's always a special pleading argument for why. Special pleading is basically, yes, I believe thieves should be arrested. Absolutely, thieves should be arrested. But this man is my son. It's making a plea that you wouldn't accept in any other case without justifying why you would ever do that. Of course, supernatural gets sort of a thumbs up. Well, it's supernatural. What the fuck does that mean? I have yet to see any justification for anything supernatural. But we'll go into that another time. At any rate, I hope I've been thorough here. And I don't think it's limited to Christianity. I think it's whether we talk about the Quran, like the faith is to believe in Allah, His angels, His books, His messengers, the last day, and to believe the providence, both its goods and its bads. If you want to just talk about, you got to have faith that when you throw money at this investment, it's going to pay off. Well, did you do any research? Well, no, but I don't need that to have faith. it would never be okay in any other sense, but religion gets a pass. That's where I kind of have to draw the line. I'm unconvinced that these are good reasons, that faith should stop being sort of praised as a good thing. I think it's the biggest negative we can, because it assists people into becoming dupes. Well, at least in that area, even if they're not a dupe in any other area. Thank you.